Hello and welcome to Thought for the Day from St. Peter's, Bexhill. And we're on to Jesus' special friends. Jesus grew up in a place called Galilee, where there was a large and beautiful lake, and it was there that he began the work God gave him to do. God is like a king, he told the people, and he wants all of you to be a part of his kingdom, to love him and to love each other. People liked to hear Jesus talk. In fact, one morning the crowd was so huge that Jesus was nearly pushed back into the sea. "Excuse me," Jesus asked a fisherman, "can I borrow your boat for a while?" The fisherman's name was Peter. "Of course," he said. "It's doing me no good. I was out all night and didn't catch a thing." Jesus climbed into the boat. Peter rowed it a little way from shore, and from there Jesus talked to the crowd. When he had finished, Jesus sent the people home. And then he turned to Peter. "Let's go a little further out," he whispered. "I'd like to catch some fish." Peter tossed back his hair and laughed. "I told you, my men and I were out all night. We caught nothing." Jesus didn't say a word. He just smiled and looked out across the lake. "All right," Peter sighed, "if that's what you want. If you say so." So Peter sailed right to the deepest part of the lake. Then he dropped his fishing nets over the side. And it took no time at all. The nets started pulling and jerking and stretching, and it was all Peter could do to keep the boat from tipping over. "Help!" Peter called to some friends nearby. "Help me, please!" And they rowed to him as fast as they could. Then, all together, the men pulled on the nets, and the fish came tumbling and slapping onto the decks of both boats. Red fish and blue fish, and not just one or two fish, so many in fact that the boats would have sunk had the fishermen not rowed quickly back to shore. Peter looked at the fish. Peter looked at his friends. And then Peter looked at Jesus and fell to his knees trembling. Only God, or somebody full of his power, could do that, Peter said. Why would someone like that want to go fishing with someone like me? Jesus shook his head and smiled. "Don't be scared," he said. "God has given me a lot of work to do, and I need helpers like you and your friends. Once you fished for fish, but from now on you'll be fishing for people and helping me bring them to God." Then Jesus stepped out of the boat and walked away across the shore. "Come with me," he called. Peter and his friends watched him go. They looked at the fish. They looked at each other. Then they dropped their nets, left their boats behind, and raced off to follow Jesus. Amen.